Hello guys, welcome to the mathematics lesson. In today's mathematics lesson, we will be dealing with quadratic equations that are found in paper 1. Okay, so these are quadratic equations that are found in paper 1. Now, before we go any further into solving this, we must understand what it means by the word equation, this word equation here. So the word equations come from the word equal, which simply means when we are using it in mathematics, when we use the word equation in mathematics, it simply we are looking at the two sides that are equal. Like in this case, we have an equal sign here, then we have two sides that are equal, and such an expression can now be called an equation. Okay, it can be called an equation. All right, so where we have two algebraic expression on either side of the equal sign, or where we have two sides and then we have an equal sign in between, and on the other side we have an algebraic expression like this here. This one is an algebraic expression. Okay, algebraic expression. Now an algebraic expression becomes an equation when it now acquires an equal sign. Okay, or rather this one can be algebraic expression, or it can also be a quadratic. It can be a quadratic expression or statement. That word expression just simply means a statement. Okay, so like we have now an equal sign involved, it changes from being an expression or an algebraic expression to an equation. Now let me explain the word quadratic. So what word quadratic means is that you are now having in that expression, you have raised one of the terms to the power 2. Okay, when you raise like this term here to power 2 here, this is a whole term, it's raised to power 2, and then we have a variable inside there, then this whole expression becomes a quadratic equation. So in a quadratic equation, whenever you are dealing with quadratic equation, what just simply is there is to ensure that what is on the left side, or whatever you do to one side of the quadratic expression, must be also done to the other side of the quadratic expression. Now here when they are saying solve the equation, open brackets 2x minus 1 close brackets to power 2 is equal to 9, there what they want us to do is to just make sure that we have there, what they want us to do is to ensure that there, let me do like this, let me just, I wanted to retrace this one because it's not looking cool. Okay, let me just retrace it because it's not looking cool. Okay, so now here this is a quadratic expression as it were. So now when they say solve the quadratic equation, they need you to find the value of x. Okay, you need to find the value of x. Now let's solve this one. So this is how you solve such kind of quadratic expression. So let's rewrite it. 2x minus 1 close brackets 2 power 2 is equal to 9. So when you have such a quadratic expression given like that, the first thing that you need to do it is to get rid of the power there. Okay, so what you do to get rid of the power is to introduce, this is the square, so to get rid of the square you introduce the square root. So you say, okay, you open brackets 2x minus 1 to power 2 or square, so you say is equal to 9, right? So you introduce here the square root, and here on the other side you also introduce the square root and you put positive or negative. So what simply means in solving equation is whatever you do on one side of the equation must be done to the other side of the equation, so that the word equation is maintained. Equation means what is on one side is equal to what is on the other side. And also it means that the two sides balances. So if we introduce the square root on the left side, then and don't introduce the square root on the right side, it means that balance is no longer there. Now to balance, we need to do the same. Okay, so here we can also put positive or negative. Now, the reason why we are putting positive or negative is that, for instance, 9 here, the value of 9, like we have a square here, value of 9, like this value of 9 can be found by either putting into square, negative 2 square, it will give us 9, or positive 3 square can still give us 9. So that's the very reason we put a positive and negative there. So once you do that, this power square can cancel with this square, so that on now this side you remain with just 2x minus 1, then equals this side. When you square root 9, you remain with 3, so you have positive or negative 3 like that. Okay, so once you reach here, it means that if you have this as your answer, it means that you can now take it in this way. You can take either 2x minus 1 should be positive 3. You carry this positive first, so I can't rewrite the plus here, because even when there's no plus here, this simply means it's positive. So you can carry the first statement. It's either 2x minus 1 is equal to positive 3, or it is either 2x minus 1 is equal to negative 3. You pick now the negative 3 there. Once you do that, what follows next is this. So you now have what we call equations. These are normal equations. They are not quadratic equations. They are normal equations, because the power of x is to power 1. So in a normal equation, solving it, we do collecting of like terms. Like here you have 2x. So like terms are negative 1 is a constant number and 3 is just a constant. So these constant are like terms, and like terms are collected on the right side of the equal sign. So on the right side here we have already 3. So this negative 1 will cross to go on the other side of the equation. So when it crosses, it is negative 1. Whenever a number crosses, it changes the sign to that which is opposite to what it has. So this is negative 1. So when it crosses, it will change to positive. So it will change to positive. So write it plus 1 there. Then here also, or 2x, so we'll say equals. So the same way applies. We'll say negative 3 here, right? Then this one crosses, it becomes positive 1. So here now, what we are going to do is to say, okay, this implies that 2x is equal to, you add 3 plus 1, you have 4. Then here, or you have this one here, 2x is equal to negative 3 plus 1, it is going to be negative 2. Negative 2. So here you should get rid of the 2, so that you remain with x, because you are solving for x. So you divide by 2, because what you do on the left side, remember, should also be done on the right side to maintain balance. So 2 into 2, it will go, then 2 into 4, it will be 2. So here you are going to have x is equal to 2, or on this side we are also going to say over 2, also over 2. So x goes like that. So here you remain with x is equal to 2 into negative 2, it will be 1. So this will be either your answer is x is equal to positive 2, or x is equal to negative 1. Now, having done that, you can prove. It's very important to prove to see whether your answers are correct. So remember, positive or negative were put. So you see, one of the solutions is either positive, the other one is negative. So you can prove to see if your answers are correct. So let's try to prove. So let's see, prove. So in an expression which is 2x minus 1, okay, 2 power 2 is equal to 9. So we have seen that we have found one value is that x is equal to 2. So let's see, we put where there's x2 there, if it will balance with what is on the right side here where we have 9. So we'll say open brackets 2 times 2, where there's x there, it means 2 times 2, then minus 1 to power 2 is equal to 9. So we'll say 2 times 2, it is going to be 4. Then minus 1 there, like that. 2 power 2 is equal to 9. Then 4 minus 1, it is going to be 3. 3 to power 2. Then here we'll have 9. So say 3 to power 2, what answer is there? 9. Then equals 9. Is this correct? Yes, this is correct, meaning this value we found x is equal to 2 is correct. So we have proven one value. So let's prove the other value as well. So we are going to prove the other value, which is x is equal to negative 1. So here we are going to put x is equal to negative 1. So we see if it is going to be correct. So meaning we'll substitute where there's x here, we'll put negative 1. So we'll put 2, then times negative 1 there, then minus 1, then to the power 2 is equal to 9. So we'll say, okay, open brackets, 2 times negative 1, it will be like negative 2, then minus 1 as usual to the power 2 is equal to 9. Okay, then here in the brackets we say open brackets, negative 2 minus 1, it will be negative 3 to power 2 is equal to 9. Now negative 3 to power 2, it will give us 9, and this side we have 9. So since what we have on the left side is equal to what we have on the right side, we have proven that our values are correct. Now, do you need to do this in an exam? No. This is just to show you that this is proven. But if you are gifted, you are someone who writes fast and you want to be sure that your answers are correct, then you can still prove. But I don't advise you to do that because you end up wasting your time in doing so. So now we have solved this. Okay, this is how it should be solved. So let's solve question 2. Solve the equation x to the power 2 or x squared is equal to 3. So when solving this, remember in solving you ensure that the x term. Okay, so here what I was saying is that when you are solving equations, you ensure that the unknown terms, the terms that you are looking for, are put on the left side of the equal sign. So like we have, let's say we have x to power 2 is equal to 3x. So these terms must be on the left side. So you collect them on the left side. So this implies that you have x to power 2. This crosses the equal sign. It becomes minus 3x. Then you say equals. So once 3x crosses, this side you remain with nothing, which is 0. Okay. So once you reach at this stage, what you need to do is to factor out. This one is simple. You need just to factor out the common factor between these terms, which is x. So you factor out x, then here you remain with just x minus, here you remain with 3 is equal to 0. Now, for you to have x to have 0 here, it means either this x is the one that is 0 or x minus 3 is the one that is 0. Now, you have to understand that to reach at this point, it is, we are having 0 and this x minus 3, they are multiplying. Whenever you are multiplying two terms and then the answer is 0, automatically you must know that one of the two numbers is 0. Okay, imagine they just say y, for instance, times z, the answer is equal to 0. Then you must know that one of these guys is 0 or both of them are 0. So having that understanding, it's the one we use when we tell you to say here, you say either x is the one which is 0, or you say or, because here we don't know which one is exactly 0. So you say or x minus 3 is the one which is 0. So that's how it is done. So we don't know. So that's why here the solutions have to be 2. So you say, okay, this implies that here definitely x has been provided. X is already 0. So here we say, or here now we will collect like terms. So the unknown terms should be always on the left side. These constant like numbers, like these constant numbers which have got no x attached to them, they have to move to the right side. That's the rule. So here you say equals. So here this -3, when it crosses the equal sign to find 0 there, it becomes positive. Okay, whenever a number crosses the equal sign, its sign changes. Its sign changes. So its sign changes. So when its sign changes, the sign changes like that of the opposite to what it have. So this one, it becomes positive. Now it will be +3. Now +3 and this 3 here, a 0 here, it will be nothing. So it will just be +3 like that. So the answer is going to be this. Okay. So you can also prove this one, but we will not waste time to prove. So we'll move to the other part here, which is this one here. So we are solving also this one, which says solve the equation 2x to power 2, or 2x squared plus 5x minus 3 is equal to 0. So it will be like 2x power 2 plus 5x minus 3 is equal to 0. So this one becomes a quadratic equation. It's a purely a quadratic equation. Now, quadratic equations that come under, like this one, that come under paper 1 are solved by factorization method. So what is involved in such a quadratic equation using factorization method is finding first what we call the product and also what we call the sum. Okay, what is a product? A product is the number you get when you multiply the coefficient of x to power 2. This x to power 2, its coefficient is 2. So the number you get after multiplying the coefficient of x to power 2, like in this case 2, with the constant that you have. Here our constant is -3. So if you get this coefficient times this constant here, you multiply them. That answer you get is what we call the product. So you say 2 times -3, our product is going to be -6. Okay? Then the sum is the value you get after adding two numbers. So in this case, you need to know what the sum is in our equation. So the sum is the coefficient of this x here. This x here, okay, its coefficient is this 5 here. So it becomes the sum. So our sum is 5. Now, once you do that, what follows next is you to now look for two numbers, which when you multiply them, they should give you -6. When you add them, they should give you 5. Two numbers. What are those numbers? For me, inherently or automatically, I know them because I've been solving at least these for a while. So for you, usually it is a problem. So two numbers, which when you multiply, they will give you -6. And when you add them, they'll give you 5 are -6 and 1. For instance, if we say -6 times 1, it is going to give us -6. If we say -6 plus 1, it is going to give us 5. So these are the two numbers. Now, is there a way of finding them? No, there's no method. It's just trying out. Okay, so you get to use as you continue trying out to how quickly to find these. So we have found these two numbers. So once you find these two numbers, you come to your question. What you do here, the first term is copied the way it is, 2x to power 2. Then this second term here, it is replaced. So this second term get replaced. Okay, so this term is going to be replaced. So let me get this nice highlight, I think. So this term here, is going to be replaced by what? By this. So this is going to replace that. Okay, let me use this nice highlight here. So this is going to be replaced. So this will be replaced by that. How do we do it? We first get -6. We put here -6. We give it x. Okay. Then this 1, we give it x. So when we have 1, we give it x. It's good just writing like x. So just write plus x since it is positive. Then we get negative. This one, 3, is maintained. And also we will say 0. Once you do this, then you are okay. Now, the question is, this one here, which I've put here, this, okay, this is equal to that 5x? Yes, because if I tell you that -6x plus x, the answer is 5x. So we have just done nothing. We have just expanded that in another way. Okay, I hope you are getting sense from there. All right. So now we'll proceed. So here now factor out what is common between these 2x. By grouping, you factor out between 2x squared minus 6x. You factor out what is common. What is common is 2 and also x. So you remain with x here. Then you say minus. Here you remain with 3, like that. Then here you say plus. Between x minus 3, what is common is actually 1. Okay, then open brackets. Here you remain with x, here you remain with -3, here you say equals 0. Now here you need to check that on the next bracket and the first bracket must be the same. This here and this here must be the same, you see. So those are the same. Now once you do that, you proceed to do like this. So you now have to look at these terms. So you have this term here and this term here. So on these two terms, you notice that this is common and this here also it is common. So you factor out what is common. So that is common, you need to factor out. So x, you say open brackets, x minus 2 is common, or 3, sorry. It's a 3 here is common. Then after you factor it out on this side, you remain on this side with the x, 2x. So you open brackets, you remain with 2x. On this side, you remain with the positive 1, like that. Then you say everything is equal to 0. So at this point in time now, what you are going to do is this. So it means that either this x minus 3, it is the 1 which is a 0, or 2x plus the 1, it is the 1 which is a 0. So what you do now, you follow it like that. You say x minus 3, it is the 1 which is 0, or you say 2x plus 1, it is the 1 which is 0. So once you do that, what you are going to do is you say, okay, this implies that you now have an equation, automatic equation. So this is an automatic equation, which means that here x minus or x is equal to this minus 3 crosses, it becomes positive 3. Or here you have like, or this you have 2x, then equals, then this one crosses there, it becomes -1. So here, incidentally, it has become x is equal to 3. So if you want, you can carry over with it, x is equal to 3. Then here you say oh, but here you still need to have x alone. So to get rid of the 2, you divide by 2. Also what you do on the left side, you also do on the right, you divide by 2. So this into that goes, so you remain with x is equal to -1/2. So meaning your value now, you're going to say clearly, you say x is equal to 3, or x is equal to -1/2. So these are your answers, like that. So we move to the other one. So let's see, clear out this. So now for the next one here, you have seen that this one, if they say solve that, you are solving this, we are solving this, right? So if that which we are solving here is already in this state, you can see that it is already in this state, right? So if it is already in this state, here this one here is already in this state here. So it will be simple for you to work it out. So what you are just going to do for you is just to pick it from there. You say, okay, this implies that open brackets x minus 1, open brackets 2x plus 5 is equal to 0. So you pick it from there. So it means just that x minus 1, it is the one which is equal to 0, or it means 2x plus 5, it is the one which is equal to 0. So this implies that this will pick x is equal to 1 crosses becomes 1, or here it implies that 2x, it is going to be equal to negative 5. That 5 crosses, it becomes negative 5. So you can, this one has ended, but you can still carry it on like 1. Then you say, or this one you say over 2, then here you say over 2, so 2 goes, so you remain with x is equal to, so you say 2 into 5, it will go there, how many times? Negative 2 times, then you remain with 1 over 2. So your answers are either this one or that one there. So you put them together like that. So let's answer this one also 5. So here we are solving this. Okay, so let's rewrite x to power 2 minus 7x is equal to 8. So remember I told you that when you are solving an equation, the terms that you are looking for must be on the right side, left side of the equal sign. Now in our case here, they are already on the right side, but we have also the constant on the right side of the equal sign in a right manner. Now it is in the right manner there, but this is a trick. So since we have two terms with x, this term here has x and this term has x, then we have a constant. This one is a full quadratic equation. So it being a full quadratic equation, you need to write it in standard form. So you need to get this 8 back to these other numbers so that it goes in a standard form like x to power 2 minus 7x. So this crosses the equal sign, it becomes negative 8, then equals to 0. You remain with a 0 once 8 comes out of that side. So now this one has become standard. So this is a standard quadratic equation which you need to solve by factorization. As I mentioned that in paper 1, you use factorization to solve this quadratic equation. So this is a product. So you need to look for a product. You need also to look for sum. The product is what you find by multiplying the coefficient of x squared by this constant negative 8. So here the coefficient of x is 1. 1 times negative 8, it would be negative 8. Then here, the sum is the coefficient of this x. In this case, it is this 7 here. Okay. So now we'll say, okay, our sum is negative 7. Then we'll look for two numbers, which when we multiply them, they will give us, let's say, they will give us negative 8. And when we add them, they'll give us negative 7. So these are actually negative 8 and positive 1. For instance, if we say negative 8 times 1, it will still give us negative 8. And if we say negative 8 plus 1, it will give us negative 7. So we have rightfully found the two numbers. So now, which will mean that this equation will go like this. X will maintain to power 2. Now, this negative 7x will be replaced by that. So we'll pick that negative 8, will give it x, then that 1 will give it positive x, then minus 8, it is going to give us 0. So once we reach at this point here, what we are going to do now, it is to ensure that we factor out by grouping like this, will go like that and that. Okay, that's what we are going to do. So now we'll say, okay, equals, then what is common between these terms is x, so we'll remain with x. Here, this side will remain with 8, then we'll close, then here plus. On this side, what is common is 1, will remain with x minus 8, then close brackets is equal to 0. So here I'm closing because once I know what is here, even what is here will be known automatically. So now we'll continue. So now that we know that what is here is one term, what is here another term. So what is common in these two terms is this and that. So that which is common, we are going to factor it out. So we will say x minus 8 factored out. On this side will remain with x, on this side will remain with plus 1, so which will give us 0. So which will mean that here we are going to have now x minus 8 is the one which is a 0, or x plus 1, it is the one which is the 0. Okay, so this will simply mean that x is either equal to positive 8, this one crosses to becomes positive 8, or x is equal to negative 1. Now let's try to prove in case maybe we have made an error in our solving. So what we can do to prove this, let's prove. So we can pick our equation x to power 2 minus 7 x is equal to 0. So let's say first of all, let's use x is equal to 8. So where there's x, we'll put 8. So say 8, okay, to power 2 minus 7 times 8 is equal to 0. Okay, so let's do 8 squared, it is 64, right? Minus 7 times 8, is it 64? Let's just prove. Okay, so here I made a mistake here. So we need to have 8 here, right? So we have 8 here, 8 here. So here 7 times 7 times 8, it is 56. So 56, 64 minus, yeah, okay, like that. So 64 minus 56, it is going to be 8 is equal to 8. So we have proven. Then on the other side, let's pick x is equal to negative 1. This part here. So also same, okay. Negative 1 to power 2 minus 7 times negative 1 should be equal to 8. So negative 1 to power 2, it will be 1. Then negative 7 times negative 1, it will be positive 7 is equal to this side will have 8. So if we add here, we'll have 8, this side 8. So yeah, so our answers are correct like that, proven. So let's continue. So now let's solve this one. So this one, it is simple. So we have equals, let's copy it, x to power 2 minus 2x is equal to 0. So this one, what is going to be is we'll factorize this one right away. So x is common. So open brackets here will remain with the x minus here will remain with the 2, close brackets will get 0. Okay, so again here it means either x is the one which is equal to 0, or this x minus 2, it is the one which is equal to 0. So here this implies that x is already known to be 0. Here it will be or x equals that 2 crosses there, it becomes positive 2. So this becomes our answers. So let's proceed. So here we have this one, solve this. Okay, so also copy it. So say 4y to the power 2 minus 8y is equal to 0. So this will imply that we are going to have factor out 4, which is common, and y. then open bracket, 4y is common here, right? Then here will remain with just y, minus here will remain with a 2, okay, is equal to 0. So that if you say 4y times y, it will be 4y squared, then 4y times negative 2, it will be negative 8y. So this simply means either 4y is the one which is equal to 0, or y minus 2, it's the one which is equal to 0. So this will simply mean that we'll say, okay, to get rid of the 4, we'll say over 4, here also over 4. So here we'll say 4 over 4, 0. So here we'll say y is equal to, then 0 divided by, so this one is cancelling, so 0 divided by 4, it will be 0. So here it will be, or y is equal to, these two crosses the other side, it become positive 2. So these should be the answers here. Okay, so guys, we have come to the end of this mathematics lesson. If you enjoyed it, give it a like and let me know in the comments section, and also subscribe to the channel for more. And for those that want to join my online lessons for mathematics, mathematics is going at 50 kwacha, okay? 50 kwacha, then biology also going at 50 kwacha. Science is going at 100. Now, someone would wonder, why should it be like that? No, it is so unfair that we treat science unfairly, but for me, I always treat it fairly, okay? So this is biology, and this is science. Let's be honest, let's treat what deserves to science. Science deserves 100 because in science, there's two, physics and the chemistry. Okay, so these two components cannot deserve 100 question. No, for me, I don't do that. I work with logic, and this is what is normal. So if you want to understand how to solve these things, to make them simple as they are, and also to give you the logic behind why we solve the way we solve, as I've shown you in the entire of this a video, you can join my online lesson. Trust me, everything, every topic from topic 1 to the last topic is going to be made simple like this. For those that are doing GCE next year, this is the right time to join. GCE next year, this is the right time. Internals, we are revising. As you can see, these are revisions. So internals, you can join these revisions. The area you join, the better. The area you join, the better. Latecomers always eat bones. When you join at the last minute, then you are just going to waste your money. All right, we are going to receive your money and then we are going to chew it. So last minute are always dangerous. Join now. So you can contact me at my WhatsApp number 0977924175. Call or WhatsApp. Now, you can only call or WhatsApp when you have the cash at hand. Why? Because I'm busy. Sometimes I just have to attend to business, all right? Not where someone just want to consult when the information I've already explained it here. Then one wants again to consult. What do you want to consult? Go straight into the lessons that are going on. You can join, all right? So, bye and see you in the other video.